All right, let's get started. Welcome everyone. I hope everyone's going well tonight. We are continuing on with the mock-up. So I did a little bit of research on the weekend. So I've been playing around with the mock-up. I'll show you what I've done. I haven't put this on the test site just yet. This is something I do want to sort of do. But yeah, as you can see, I've just thrown together something. I've gotten basic sort of colors. Don't worry about the colors whatsoever. Those most likely will be placeholders. We'll probably eventually change that. Just having a look, playing around with stuff. Let's get into it. So as you can tell, I definitely haven't been designing this really well. I'm terrible with design, but we might as well try and attempt something and see where it goes. We also, at the same time, want to make sure we include accessibility and translations into it also. And I've been looking at this and I'm having a look at the petite version, which only does the translations, and how we can actually potentially set that up. But we've got to do a couple of tests today, which we'll do. Let's jump straight into it. So one of the first things I want to do is, where's my code? Open up PyCharm will help. We'll put that there. That can get closed now. I will just close those other tabs over there. We don't need them. I'm just going to close everything, minimize everything, so everyone knows where I am with this. So in here, what I've got with the components is I put it in a render folder, and what this does is oh wow, cool, implemented live captions, closed captions, neat. I think they might go into other languages too, I'm not sure, but pretty cool. Alright, so I implemented, and welcome Dumb Guy Codes, how are you going? Hopefully going well. I've done a card component, and all it is it's just the div class card, and we've got the slot in there, so it just wraps some code. It wraps the div class card around any code we want. We've also got the scope sort of stuff in here, so we can tweak it in here and so forth like that, just in case we have a different sort of card later on where we need different CSS or something like that. Also did the same thing with the footer, so it's just a class, it's just a div and that with, once again, we're using the slot so we can pass things through very easily. And the same with the header, except the header has a couple of, it's just got an F-set making sure that the card title exists. So yeah, just alive. Yeah, fair enough, I understand that. So yes, me too. It was a very long day at work today. At that. So what I've done is with the new project, this is how it's now set up. So you got the card component, and inside everything passes through. You got the card header with the title, so it renders that title. Easy done. You got the. I've also created some text input components because I wanted to see if instead of having the imports at this sort of level and then having to do all the styling and all that kind of stuff, I was playing around being like, well, why don't I just make something very generic, a generic component where I can just call it in and handle most of the CSS in that. So as you see, I've just done that, and I've got two variables passing through, the title and, that's it, just the title, not two variables. I need to pass through another one, the label, ARIA label. But we won't do that just yet. We'll get some basic sort of styling done first. So I'm going to go back down to the render section. We're going to open up the text input, and we're going to open up the text input I am building a open source project management system called NearBeach. It is built, but we're going through a massive sort of refactor. We're essentially making it look a lot nice. We're going to fix up all the sort of technical debt and all that kind of fun stuff. So yeah. NearBeach, I will admit, because I can't design, doesn't look nice. So one of the things we're going to do is, with this mock-up today, is we're trying to make something look nice and go from there. So yeah. All right, let's go over here. So as you see, I can't design. What I'll do is I'll get these out in their sort of basic sort of mode, get someone to come through and be like, nah, that looks terrible, and so forth like that, and give me tips. And essentially I will implement them. And don't worry about that. And there are many other different ways of contributing to an open source project. So yeah, you don't have to actually code. Documentation is one way. Asking, depending on the project itself, sometimes asking features does help, or pointing out user flow issues, funding, all sorts of other things to contribute to an open source project. So yeah. Alright, so what we want to do is we actually want to change these inputs. I definitely don't like them like that. If we actually go line height, and let's say I put in 26 pixels or something like that, that's looking a lot better already. So yeah, and also using the product itself does actually help. So yeah. Alright, now I have brought up a couple of, I've just once again Googled stuff and I'm having a look. Let's open up this contact form. I'm going to do this so you guys can see what's actually happening. I mean, looks nice like that. Gonna try this one. We're just playing around, seeing what looks good. Alright, so they've also got that thing where that moves up there. I'm not the biggest fan of that. Nice forms in CSS. Alright, let's have a look. So yeah, I kind of like the label like that. It's a bit bold, it's a bit small. We can do that with our label and so forth like that. We've also got, when we click on there, notice how it colors out everything, and yeah, we're probably going to do something like that. All right, let's just jump straight into it. So, just having a look at what padding they've got. It's not telling me. Padding, come on. Okay, all right, let's go in here. I'm gonna get rid of the line height for a second. I'm just gonna go padding, and we're just gonna go 1 rem. That's a big sort of padding like that. Look at that, that's huge. If I put the line height in, it gets even bigger. If I do 0.5 rem, it's still quite large. Let's do rem. Oh, it doesn't get that small, does it? No, because I've got 2 dot points there, and there we go. All right. But it's Let's start at the 0.5s. Get rid of the line height. So we've got something like that. Okay. gonna have another look at this form. They've got that as a slightly darker thing. All right, cool. What I'm going to do, so I'm gonna go over here. We've got the text input component. Here it is. We've got the style scope down here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have the input and we're gonna have one called label. So now with the label itself, what I want to do is I want to go font size. I'm going to go 14 pixels and then I'm going to go font weight bold. I just want to see what happens. Who knows what's going to happen? It's going to look horrible, most likely, because I'm designing it. Now with the input, what I want to do is I want to have background color. That's going to be one of my vars, and I'm going to go background. I'm just going to go background. We're going to see what happens there. So it's currently the background. All right, cool. We also want to have border style. One thing I forgot to add that at the end. Border style, what we're going to do is we're going to have a var border style. So I'll put a lot of these in variables so we can modify it in one spot and modify everywhere else. I'm trying to keep consistency. Whether that actually works or not, we'll find out. Who knows? It probably doesn't because I'm designing this, remember? All right, border width, we are once again doing it as a variable. Border radius is also a variable, and then border color is also going to be a variable. So that should have changed something. I don't. Oh, okay, yeah, I can see the color being the same as that. All right, cool. Ooh. I don't have one called border color. Use windsurf. It will suggest pretty well. At the moment, we're just laying stuff out. I know it's an AI tool and stuff like that. Oh, you can download it for Dillos or another day. What's actually AI coding to keep you. I don't need something to code for me. But yeah. All right, getting back into it. Now, I'm just gonna minimize everything because I need to find stuff. I'm gonna go into search. I want to go into assets. We've got the CSS and we've got something called variables in here. I'm just having a quick look because I might have used background dark. Border rays, border, yeah, I didn't use any border colors. All right, not a problem. So I'm just gonna put background dark here for that. Oh, that's not quite right. Let's actually have a look at what I'm doing. Background dark. I am doing background color, background radius. It's actually at this level. I want the border color, background. Oh, that's background color. Border color, border. Oh, I just named it border. That's pretty boring of me. All right, and then the next thing I want to do, line height 24. So we're just going to go line height. We don't have that as a variable at the moment. I'm just going to have 24 pixels. Easy done. We're just going to go over here. So that's looking a little bit better. Of course, it's a terrible design, but remember, I'm designing this. It's going to be terrible. I'm just going to go over here again. Now, what I might actually do is, yeah, I need a little bit of margin on these labels themselves. So I'm just going to have margin bottom. We're going to go, yeah, 4 pixels at the start off. Not a fan. I am going to go up to 6. All right, that's looking a lot better. The idea is with each of these components, there'll be a bigger margin of 16. All right, cool. And that should separate those easily. Now, I know the bold's pulling that in. I'm going to add some padding into the input. I'm going to do 4 pixels and I'm going to do 10 pixels. So 4 pixels at top and bottom, 10 pixels on either side. So that's looking a little bit better. Now the next thing I want to do is, notice how this automatically does that? It sort of highlights what field you're actually selecting. So if we actually go over here and click on this, it gives a subtle blue over here. We're probably going to nick the same sort of blue that we've got over here on this to see if it stands out. So in here, what we need to do is we need to add in one of those, and I think it will be focus. And then what we need to do is border color. I'm just going to go hot pink just to test this out to make sure this actually works. We're just going to go over here. I'm just going to hit refresh. It didn't quite work how I wanted it. All right, I'm double checking. Does sort of have a hover already on it. There we go. Oh, that's hover. Whoops. Focus. There is no focus. All right. Give me a couple of seconds. CSS input focus. Yeah, it's meant to be like that. Might have gotten it wrong here though. Yeah, definitely got something wrong. Just gonna have a quick look at this. Yeah, input focus. All right. And it's just one, yeah, it's just one colon. All right. I'm just gonna, oops, did the wrong thing. I'm gonna comment that out. I'm building, but I just don't remember everything. Also, I don't know how to design. I'm a terrible designer. So I am technically learning how to design at the same time. But building, yeah. Been doing this a couple of years now. All right, background color. We'll also do hot pink. Hot pink's a great one to sort of point out the changes because no one uses it. I'm just gonna get rid of that code. So all of that should be fine. There we go, now it's working. All right, so what had happened is the nested didn't pick that up. So what I'm gonna do, post CSS nested, CSS focus, because I might have not, done something correctly. So yeah, nested true, you can use it as this features. Right, not what I wanted. I don't know if I need an ampersand or something like that up here. What I can do, I can grab those, just paste them in. Oops. I'm gonna get rid of that. Whoops, didn't want to get rid of that one line. So yeah, that's still, oh no, that's not having a problem. I'm just gonna refresh. Okay, no, it doesn't like it in there. Okay, no problem, we'll just undo all of that. Are you not using Tailwind? I was trialing out Tailwind a couple of weeks ago. I don't like how many classes it adds onto a single element. So in this sort of case, I'm familiar enough with CSS that I'm happy to move forward with just plain CSS. I'm not doing anything overly complicated. And considering I am essentially scoping these all out to this very small components, it should be, CSS is pretty easy to maintain that way. Alright, so that is doing what I want it to do. So now I've got to choose a different color. So if we go into our variables, we've got secondary, we've got info. Just having a look at what we could use. I like the secondary. Yeah, all right, cool. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go var, secondary, easy done. Another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make the background a lot lighter. So I'm just going to go var, and we're just going to go background light, which in this sort of case, it's going to be white. Not a problem though. So as you see, that clearly states what we're on, but the border itself is still brown. All right, I'm gonna bump this off to the left so you guys can see what I'm doing. So I'm just having a look at this component itself. I am gonna tick on our focus. So we've got our focus, so we've got the border color. But it's brown there. These are the little things that I always keep forgetting. So CSS, input, on focus, border, color. We're definitely skipping that one. All right. It's the outline. All right, cool. So outline's got to be none. I can't spell important. I don't think we need important because I've got basic just CSS here. I don't think I've overridden anything, so I'm just going to refresh that. All right, I'm just going to go hot pink with the border color again. Once again, hot pink's great for telling whether or not something has been applied. Oh, it doesn't look like it has been. Yeah, this is annoying. Alright. Yes, Max. No, Max. Alright, I'm just ticking the focus. Oh. Hang on, let me see why that's the case. Invalid property name. Okay. So, what I'm going to do I'm gonna 5 pixels, solid, hot pink. We've got I keep getting the semicolon at the end of stuff. All right, it looks like it's working now. All right, no problem. So I'm done something somewhere. So I'm just gonna, do that as reference. We're gonna go border, color, and then I'm gonna do hot pink. I think I spelled hot pink wrong before. There it goes. So that's looking better. If I go var, secondary, that should be that color. I mean, it might be the case that it is actually showing that color. I just can't tell. because it's a thin line. We could go border size. No, not border size. Sorry, border width. Let's go 2 pixels. Okay. So I'm just trying to think about this design. I'm just wondering, CSS border width inside. Placing the border inside the dot of the edge. All right, cool. Box sizing property to border box. So box sizing border box. All right, cool. Box sizing. That will actually probably belong up here on the input. Box sizing border box. All right, cool. We'll still need those ones too. So I'm just going to copy all of them and just oops. So width, height, and all that. Yep, that's all fine and dandy. All right, cool. I'm going to exaggerate this. I'm going to put that as 5 pixels. And then if we go on here, still moving stuff up and down. Damn. So the one thing that is annoying me is when I click on this, it is moving the other components up and down. I don't like that at all. But I think I've got some leeway on how to do this. All right, so I'm going to put this back down to 2 pixels. I think 2 pixels is good. It's clear enough. It is blue. What we want to do is when someone clicks on this, we need to take that 2 pixels from somewhere. And I think we can from the line height. So if we go into here and we go line height, and then if we go 20 pixels, maybe. All right, now that's pulling everything in. All right, we're getting somewhere. Let's go 22. All right, I like that. So what we've actually done here at the moment is we've made it so if a user comes along and they click on one of these particular fields, it doesn't move the other fields up and down, but that border at the same time gets a bit thicker. And Toby, how are you going? Hopefully you're going well. Welcome. Sorry, I just saw your message. All right, so I like that. Once again, I'm not married to these colors or anything like that. We're just trying to get the rectangles onto the screen. That way we could, you know, when we present this to people, someone could tell me what they don't like. So yeah. All right. So I kind of like that. It's basic, it's boring, I know that. We'll probably pick a better font. In fact, I like the font that we're using over here to be on that. But we'll figure that out at another time. Just came in, it's kind of okay, but I was slacking yesterday and woke up late today. Fair enough. Fair enough. I can understand that. We all need a holiday soon. I need a holiday. I know that. All right, so I think those input fields are basic, not gonna lie. I don't think I'm going to touch them any more than that. Everything's way too big. Yes, yeah, fully understand. I'm zoomed in at 290%. I can bump out. I usually zoom in around 200%, just so because I don't think I stream at. I think I just stream at basic high def, not 4K. People on mobile phones can at least see my screen and contribute and stuff like that. So yeah. By the way, if you're interested in giving feedback, we do have a Discord. We welcome all feedback at the moment, because once again, I'm not a designer. I'm terrible at design. I know that is my weakness. Alright, so we've got that done. What I'm going to do now is we need to pass through accessibility first. So let's have a look at best practice. For inputs. Alright, we're going to click on this. This makes us wanting to read all the document. No, I'm not going to read all the document. I am going to read an article on it, which will be a lot quicker. When it's zoomed in normally, I think it looks odd how wide it gets. I would give it a max width. Okay. It does actually have a max width. Just set like that, but no, I can understand what you mean. So as you zoom in, everything sort of increases, but it keeps that sort of this layout, but the text increases. Yeah, I can see that. I would have to change how I size all the fonts and stuff like that, but that's not going to be a problem. That's just using REMs instead of pixels. So yeah, I just zoom in like this, so yeah, I just do it. Alright, so I'm just gonna so you guys can actually read and talk about zooming in. There we go. We'll just accept the basic sort of cookies. I just want to see some code. So we know. Oh, alright, cool. We can say to ensure that each form control is identical, use the label elements to link descriptive text to input via for and an ID attribute, which we're automatically doing. So it's sweet. You hate web dev, but ended up employed as a web dev. Okay, fair enough. Out of curiosity, just because the development is rather broad, what type of dev were you hoping to get into? No wrong answers. This link allows screen readers to announce the label while focusing on the input. Clicking the label sets it to focus on the control. Yep, benefits for user. Yep, which is what we've set up. Alternatively, wrapping the input in the label emits the default. Alright, we're not doing that because we do get a warning from Vue saying, especially setting the labels with matching IDs that are supported by assistive technologies there. So yeah, that's why I'm not doing that. Text areas, ID address, autocomplete, street address. All right, cool. So we don't actually have an autocomplete for this at the moment. And Matt Bird's Quest, how are you going? Kinda, I'm hoping to. So, yeah. Checkbox and radios, all right, cool. We're kind of happy with that. Grouping, we're not going to group stuff at the moment. Multi-select menus. Although HTML allows select multiple, usual concerns they limit in the accessibility. Users must know how to hold down Command Shift when selecting those not injured. Alright, cool. Form buttons. Yep. Okay, yep. Easy done. I still do it as a hobby. I do low level, bare metal, VM dev, and a big assembly lover. Ooh, nice. Oh, fair enough. Currently I'm working on the 80s style VM, that imagination of how a Klingon equivalent of a computer would look like. Alright. You're going well. Started a new stream format today and I think it went really well. Oh, nice. That's awesome. I should give you a shout out. Give me a couple of seconds. Oh, just opened up everything. Oh, I didn't mean to open up all of that. So, Matt Bird's Quest also does stream, so yeah, give him a follow. I just realized there is an ad break on. I do apologize for those in ad break. I am not paying that much attention. It's over in a second. Not that I was doing much, I was like just reading this. Alright, so over here we've got the ARIA label. The thing is, they've got the label in here. They're like, feel free to inspect the element in Chrome DevTools to see how the accessibility name has changed. So it'll be ARIA label. This is the label. We'll take over the accessibility name. Yes. Oh, that's okay. Yeah, fair enough. We still get paid through Twitch Turbo, so which is nice. All right. Label blind. Use label blind similar to ARIA label, except it's used if the label text is visible on the screen. It's paired to other elements by the ID, and you can use multiple. Alright, we don't need billing name. Socks. Stop it. Okay, I'm not gonna. Same way as ARIA label. Oh, sorry, I should do this so you guys can actually read the whole thing. Except provides a description with additional information that the user might need. This can be used to describe the criteria of any input, which is what we kind of want to pass down. Alright, second time in a row that I hit the snow. Oh, nice. Yep, 38.63, nice. If you want, I can send you some screenshots of what I'm currently working on. Sure, we do actually have a Discord. There will be multiple people in there, Toby, that will be interested in that. All right. So we definitely want to send down the ARIA described by. So in here, what I want to do is I want to have something like this. We'll have type string. Required is going to be false. Default is going to be nothing. We're just going to format that very, very quickly. We want to go down here with the input. ARIA described by, and we're just going to pass that through. I think we need to still put that in, otherwise it complains. In what channel do I, good question. I have forgotten all my channel names. I do believe there is a Your Projects channel. Give me 2 seconds, I'll find out the name. There is a Your Projects channel. You're more than welcome to put that in. Alright, so I should pass stuff down. what I'm going to do is up here, we're going to do this, and we're going to go aria. No. All right. The title of the new project, limited to 205 characters. All right. This should outline a basic helicopter view of the project. Alright, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that. That's going to do all of that. I realize I've put in a random thing in there. So we're going to go over here. We're just going to hit refresh. I am going to bring up, oh, we don't have access. Oh, no, there it is, accessibilities. I'm going to bump this off to the left, and we're actually going to see the changes that we implemented. So under the document, we've got a bunch of generic. So we're going to open up generic. We've got a bunch of lists. We've got a banner. We've got that. We've got main. All right, cool. Open that up. We've got a heading. We've got generic. But if we open it up, we've got a label, title, and we've got a text box. But we don't have roll text leaf. All right. Ooh. Right. Okay. I don't see anything interesting there. I'm just going to open up Chrome too. This would be localhost 5173. We're just going to open up this. We're just going to go to the new project. We're just going to inspect that straight away, but that doesn't matter. If we go over into accessibility, which is somewhere over here, do not lighthouse, but that will be funny if I do that whilst I try and find the accessibility. Oof, yeah, no, that's going to be low for the moment. We'll improve it. I just don't use Chrome enough to actually know where, there it is, accessibility. If I zoom, oh God. All right, accessibility, we've got that. We've got it goes all the way down to the generics, label text, yep, that's fine. And then text title. Non-specified aria placeholder, no. Title. No, we don't have describe by. All right, no problem. So there, if you want to have a look. Cheers, thank you, Toby. Yeah, I'll have a look after stream. So yeah. All right. So that didn't work how I wanted it to. But I'm probably done something really stupid. It is like that. Yeah, it is like that. All right, cool. I'm just going to double check the view components themselves. So we're going to jump into here. We're going to go over into new project. We've got the card component there. We've got the text component here. We've got the form group here. We should be... Oh yeah, we're sending it down, the group project, yada, yada, yada. So that will be in the form group. So the text input component, which is inside the form group. It looks like I can't get down any further. Aria described by. It's probably that's causing the issue. Just gonna hit refresh. Gonna have a quick look at this. It's not. I've got the props, text input component, All right, that's there. Sweet. But for some... All right, if I inspect that... Oh, there it is. Yep, that's working perfectly fine. All right, so if I go to accessibility now, I feel like I live in the past because we do everything in pure PHP. Yeah, PHP is fine. PHP has come quite far since PHP 5. So yeah, I don't mind using PHP nowadays, especially with frameworks like Laravel that are out there. So yeah. All right, generic. Main, we've got the label here. All right, we've got the text box. Now, do we have any attributes for that? We've got some attributes. We've got, oh yeah, the margins. We've got the relations, like all of that. We've got the states. Cool. I don't see the property in there. It's a bit of a pity. But we know that it is on out there. All right. I am just making sure I got this attribute name correct down here. So we're just gonna do that. No frameworks. Oh, all right. Now that does make it a challenge. Wow. Because the one thing I won't do is create my own logging system and so forth like that. There are smarter people than me that will do that a lot better than what I could. Yeah, which is why I like using a framework like Laravel or something. All right, so I believe that's passing down correctly because I've done it that way. I don't see why it's worse than the alternative. Okay, fair enough. I just know if I did it, I would miss something and it would be a security nightmare. So yeah. And the name description, please. All right, no, I've mucked this up. I didn't read this whole code properly. Yeah, there's an ID here for the name. Okay, cool. So I don't really actually need that. And yeah, I think the label is enough for this moment. I'm gonna get rid of that. Oops, I deleted something, didn't I? Oh, just do something like this. There we go. Get it to format properly. Now, just having a quick think. We could pass through a description into here. We could easily have a description. And then all that ARIA label and all that kind of stuff could potentially work really, really well. I'm not going to do it today. I'll have a think about that. Mainly because I don't see us using a description for these particular things. We might use like an error situation and so forth like that. In fact, that's what I should do soon. Not right now. I should also look at implementing errors in here correctly. All right, so I think that's okay. what I'm going to do, and there was a tool someone recommended a couple of streams ago. I thought I had the plugin installed. Oh, yep, there it is. All right, I'm gonna move that to the right. Ooh, I got one error. View all details. Error, broken ARIA reference. Ooh, where's that? Oh, down there. All right. Yeah, I know what it means. I want to actually find the element. ARIA labeled by main title. All right, yep, we can fix that up very, very quickly. Now, all right, I know where it's broken. This is pretty easy. So it's broken because if I close this, it's broken because it's expecting this to be an ID title. And that's why. I don't think I've ever used the main tag. Oh, fair enough. Yeah, we just use it. Well, we're using it now. So, yeah. I read some accessibility documentation and stuff like that, and they're like, oh yeah, use main sections and all this kind of stuff to sort of break up your page. So I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to use it. And that way you can have your asides outside of the main too, and all that kind of fun stuff. Alright, I'm going to quickly fix this. This will be at the card header level. So the H1 will have an ID of main. That's going to fix that. So that would have fixed that very, very quickly. I'm just going to hit refresh because it needs to refresh the page. Oh, we've still got one error. Details. Damn it. All right, where's my code? ARIA label by main title. Whoops. There you go, main title. But how is it different from using sections and divs? Not much difference. It's just giving you another sort of named tag, really. Alright, just going to do that. 0 errors. Alright, cool. Sweet. I am going to move on to what else did I want to do? Translation of stuff. Except this time we're not going to use the Vue internationalization library. We're going to use the petite version. It's just smaller. That's it. There's a lot of things in here that we don't need. We need the translation in there, sure. We don't need to worry about the date time formats or the number formats or anything like that. In the future, if we do need to implement that, what we do is we then use the Vue internationalization library, and it'll just work, because this is just a smaller version of it. It's a subset of functions. All right, so if your project only uses T's API translation, we recommend using the petite one. Better than that. So I need to go into here. I'm just going to minimize this. I'm going to open up this. I am going to open up our package, .json. We're going to scroll down to the internationalization stuff, which should be Vue 18. It's not in there. Oh, did I not install it? No, I did install it because I've got translations happening on these pages. So yeah, all right, not a problem. What's the site actually about? So I'm building NearBeach. Well, it's 0.31 is all built and so forth like that. It's an open source project management system. However, what's actually happening now is I'm just refactoring a lot. There's a lot of technical debt in here from decisions I made years and years ago. Yeah, so essentially we're building up the API. So that means that I no longer have to have Django do part renders and stuff like that. We're going to be using VueJS as the full front end and all that kind of fun stuff. So yeah, should have done that many years ago, but I just didn't know how to many years ago, and now I'm implementing it. So yeah. All right, I am going to go over here. We are. And thank you very much for the follow, Toby. So yeah, welcome. I do hope you are enjoying my content. As I figure out... Ah, there it is. It's down at the bottom. What we want to do is... Petite Vue i18n. And we are going to grab the latest version of that. We're going to remove that. That's going to be fine. The differences will, we just need to grab stuff from Petite instead of the Vue internationalization. Pretty easy stuff. So I'm just going to stop that. I'm going to delete out node modules. I'm going to go npm install. That will install everything. Oh yeah, cheers. Thank you very much, Toby, for popping by. So yeah. We do have a security issue, npm audit. Let's see what that is. Npm audit fix. That's for what package? JS YAML. Alright, cool. npm install. It should have installed everything. Oh, that's pretty quick to install. npm run dev. We're going to have some problems. We know about this. What we're going to do is we're going to go over in here. We're going to type in Vue. It will be i18. No. All right. Cool. Files out. Knock up. All right. Cool. Failed to run dependency scan, skipping pre-built errors. The following dependencies are imported but cannot be resolved. Yep, that's what we're trying to search for. And that will be in here. In which case we will do that. That should work. Did that in the main TS. I might need to stop and run. Ah, there we go. And DemXN Player, welcome. I do hope you are enjoying my content as we are implementing this. All right, one other thing which I read the other day was, oh, where was it? Not pluralization. Oh, sorry. Scope and local changes, was that? No, it's like a fallback. Yeah. So instead of having English or something like that, you'd have the English on the components itself and then have the lookup in there. So not quite like that. Sorry, I'm just trying to have a look. I've also got fallback. Might not be in this one. Maybe not. Was this one it? Team message greeting, no. I can never find it when I'm streaming. Alright, not what I want. But we'll figure it out. It won't be hard to figure it out. So we've already got everything in there that we want. We've got the main sort of stuff. Now, I do know there is a way to split these up into multiple different language files, which is what we want to do. Now, I do also know that one of those language files is going to be huge. It shouldn't be too large. I mean, there's not much text that we're translating. So I'm going to minimize that. I'm going to open up this. I'm going to open up source. We're going to open up components. We're going to, actually, no, it's not a component, sorry, source. We're going to open up that. We're going to create a new directory and we're going to call it languages. This is where we're going to store all of our language files. So in here, we'll go Japan lang.json, like so. And we'll have the JSON language in there. Now, another thing which I wanted to do is, this is going to be view, internationalization. What we want to do is split, what is it called? Let me split something up. It's part of the lazy loading. So in here, the lazy loading all the files at once is overkill and unnecessary. All right, we don't need to for example, we don't need to lazy load it in. We don't need to load in the Japanese language if we're not using it. So lazy loading or asynchronous loading the localization files is really easy when using the bundler. Let's assume we have the project. All right, cool. So what we've also done is we're just got languages. I'm probably going to I'm going to rename it to what they've called it. I'm just going to rename it. It's fine. Nothing's referencing it at all. There we go. I'm going to put it in the Vite config. So down here we've got components. We've got that. This will also be at locals. That will be file, your name, path, source.locals. All right, cool. We're all happy with all of that. So the page folder is where our arbitrary view component, like the about.view router, inits, internationalization, inits, and the other reside. The locals folder is where all our localization files reside, and in the i18n.js, the function for i18n related processes are defined as follows. So they've got, if we have a look in here, they've got that at that level, which we're going to do the same thing too. We're going to minimize that. We're going to do this very, very quickly. We're just going to go this i18 n.js. Now we're using TypeScript, so can I get away with TypeScript? I don't know. Who knows? We're just going to copy this because we're lazy. And then, so, all right, cool. Functions take the options as create integer. All right, cool. Here's the code for the view router before each hook part. So before async from next constant locals. All right, cool. So it looks like I've got to do something, but that's perfectly fine. we've just hit an ad break. Spotted that one this time. So yeah, we're just going to take a little tiny break like this. Hopefully everyone's going well tonight. So yeah, it's going to be a busy couple of weeks. Once I feel like the design is coming together slowly, and how we want to tackle everything is coming together slowly. Once we get the projects done, I'm hoping the other modules will follow suit very, very quickly. So I'm trying to, I'm trying to get this to work as fast as possible. So it's gonna take time. Yeah. All right, and we are joined today. Socks is just down there. She's been good. Yes, you have. You've been good today. She's been asleep all day, that's why. Not sleeping on my mouse, like she likes to do sometimes. So yeah, about 20 seconds left of the ads. Another 10 seconds. It's getting there slowly. Okay, and welcome back. So I've just shoved this in here. We've got the creator. We need to do the petite one in there. That's perfectly fine. Fuck off. Excuse my French. We need to export functions. This, we're not pulling them in. Okay, cool. Yeah, we need the maybe. Yeah, the Linda's not going to be happy with any's in there. Alright, so I'm not going to worry too much about that at this second. We can fix that up a little bit later. We are going to lint this file very, very quickly. What we've got is support locals. Oops, just keep throwing stuff around, don't I? We've got support locals. That's just a string of all of that. I'm going to just go string that, so it stops complaining. Yep, there we go. We've got the setup options, so we've got that, and then we've got alright, cool. Sorry, we go going. Okay, got all of that. So if we're not going to use legacy mode whatsoever, so I'm just going to do, whoops. Oh, all right, cool. No, if you need to specify the language settings, headers such as fetch API, set it here, following an example. All right. No. Cool, easy done. So we've got the local message, await import, chunk name, local request. No, we're not doing. We're not using Webpack for one. So I'm just going to bulk like that. And what we need, that will work. All right, cool. That parameter explicitly has an any type. Oh god. Really? It does too. Alright. Trying to remember what I read on the weekend. So yeah. Scrolling all the way up to the top, so we've got all this. The pages where to view about view router, the unit, and it's the other. All right, cool. So that's pretty much that one, and then oh, sorry. Oh, Alright, I'm just going to see what we've set up so far. So under our main TS, sorry, I should say, we've got this, we've got the create internationalization, so we don't have that on the right, but that's perfectly fine. We do all of that and then, yeah, we part that through. Oh, sorry. Oh. Will be removed in version 12. Okay. Sorry. Jared, sorry about that. I'm just getting tired very, very quickly. So, got that all set up, but how do I call it from the, do I just call it from here? It can't. So I'm just having a think. Use local if parent local is not in supported local. All right. Yep. Yep, we must set that to false. Yep, we've done that. Okay. I know, Socks. Meow to you too. Alright, oh. God, these yawns. Alright, I think I've got to get rid of this here. Or I get rid of the messages, I think. So I'll get rid of the messages. That's going to break the site, but that's perfectly fine. So we're getting that. I'm not too fussed about that at all. Alright, so I'm going to close all other tabs. We're going to keep that one open. We're going to keep that one open. We are going to go into the routes itself. So with the router, what we do is we pull in stuff with the routes. So there's our routes as an array. Down here, we've got the create router. So let's go back to lazy loading. Let's go, we've implemented that as best as possible. International load. Yep. All right. Cool. So router before each. So we've got the navigation guards. We don't have the, I wonder if I can, no. All right, we're gonna have navigation guards in here. Easy done. So we've got two, we need to make that async. Easy done. To from next. I tell you what, I'm just going to copy. We're going to 88. So we've got the to the from, we've got that local. Okay. Oh, we need to import that, don't we? Okay, no problem. Doing that, all right. Just gonna leave it like that, and then we need, I will be cleaning this up. Oh, we don't want to do that. We need to import it. More actions. All right, so going up here, what we're going to do is import, actually, let's support locals. That will be I18N. That's just going to be the setup I18N. Oh, I don't think so. I don't know what this documentation is doing. Right, let's have a look at main TS. I've got that there. Is that meant to be somewhere else now? Down, down. Alright, and create options. Alright, cool, yep. Fallback, oh, I see how this is done. That's been called over there with the setup. Alright, cool. So that means I can get rid of this here. I can then just go import. This will be the setup I18N. From there, we get rid of that. We go down here. There, I think. Might be something like const I18N equals that. Then we go I18N, do a little bit of formatting, and that's it. All right, cool. so we can do the local is the English. All right, cool. I can then go to one. I can get rid of that. All right, fingers crossed this is still working. Let's have a look. No whammies, please. Yeah, we got whammies. All right, not a problem. Local is not defined. All right, sweet. We're just going to go through the everything now. Okay. It's going to be a string. I know this is going to complain if I use any, but I don't know what that creates. All right. I'll move this over so you guys can actually see what I'm talking about. We'll come back to this mess in a second. So what I'm trying to do is I'm going to clean this up, and I'm really going to clean this up in a minute. So we've got the setup internationalization there. We've got the options passing through. We might, and then what's coming out is that. What I might do, sorry. I'm gonna have a look at this documentation and stuff like that. Do local message, all that kind of stuff. So create, yep. All right, cool. So const, this is the application entry point. So the const that message schema, or that. All right. Okay, yep. Okay, yep. The above code, defines the type, message specific option, that, this defines the type, alright, cool. This means you can find it as a single resource truth, alright, cool, yep. Yep. Import EU to do from there. Import local messages for your view component. Alright, cool. Type message schema, type of, okay, yep. Type number scheme equal, alright, yep. Okay, yep. I see how this goes now. Yep, alright, cool. Okay, let's go back into here. I'm not going to worry too much about the types at the moment. We will come back to this very, very quickly. Alright, so we've got the setup. Then we've got the set the international language. That's probably in its own function instead of all just hammered out there. So it can be called somewhere else. And that's importing those messages. set the, yep. All right, cool. This is still broken. That's all fine and dandy. I'm gonna cheat. Actually, no, let's do this properly. That's the TypeScript sort of stuff that we want. Scrolling up, we've got all of that. Type of, I'm just gonna copy this. I'm just getting rid of this. We'll come back to it, we'll expand it out how we need it as we go along. Now, this is gonna not work at all. Petite. The next thing that we want to do is, oh yeah, this is gonna be a problem because if I'm doing English, we won't have an English JSON. All right, not a problem. But no, it's wanting to use it as the types. Mesh the schema. I see why it's doing that now. All right, cool. So if we have, oops. Piss that off then. I made this a lot harder for myself, haven't I? All right. So what I want to do, I am just going to change those. I'm just going to go gp lang.json. That should find something in there. We should also go down here and go jp lang like that. So we're just going to go jp lang like that. We're just going to format this very, very quickly. So we've got the internationalization like that. And then in here, messages. I'm just going to get rid of that for the moment. This isn't being used anywhere, but I'm just wondering how we can do this. I'm going to put in the basic hello world there. And then I'm going to go messages. No, I don't think that will work, but the following is an example code that defines tape type. All right, cool. Local messages to the import components. Yep, will be like that. What it does is it'll import all of that. All right, cool. And we can do that at the component side. So there's the TS, use that, and then import from that local messages. Yep, all right, cool. Types of number, yep. And then it imports it. And then you do hello, yep. All right, cool. Yeah, that's fine. Let's go back to lazy loading. So the pages folder where our arbitrary view components like about.view, router, inits, and so forth are located. Cool, the locales. Yep, all right, sweet. So what we want to do is in here, We're going to start putting this in there and make that work. We're going to definitely destroy all of this because we don't need it at the moment. We are going to double check that the router works. It does not. The requested modules, Internet TS does not provide an export name support locals. That is because it's still in here and we're just going to delete that out of there. Done. All right, cool. So this is now back to working. We're going to do this a couple of steps at a time because clearly I've forgotten what I was meant to do. So in the init JavaScript, internationalization JavaScript, we are, and I'm gonna keep it TypeScript just for the moment. We're gonna work with this. I'm going to recopy this. We're just going to paste this down here. We will work with this. So straight off the bat, we're going to delete that. We want next tick to be in here like this. I don't like how that's like that. Yeah, I don't like that. But we'll figure this out. So straight away, we've got the I-18, we've got the create and all that kind of stuff. That's no longer happening, but what we're doing is we're gonna probably look at grabbing the types for that. We have an export const. I'm just gonna have a look at JavaScript export const. Code conventions. Coding styles, actually. Export const. Okay. Constraints for true global accessible constraints like configuration values. All right. Yep. Cool. So that is actually correct how that's done. We are going to go up here. We're going to do something like that, and we're going to write in global constraints. It's done. We're just going to format the whole document right now. We have type of message. It's not used, that's why. So we've got the export function. Just making sure that this is all right. So it is in that sort of coding style. That's perfectly fine. Now in here, this will be sending out the message schema, and then either English or Japanese. It's not going to work there, is it? No. Okay, locals. That's going to be object key. Sorry, big yawn. I was going to create that, and that should come back. Like that. All right. I don't think I need this type. Slowly getting there. So set up internationalization, options equals that. Oh, and we've just reached another ad break. All right, I'm off to get myself a quick drink. I gotta also shut the curtains and all that kind of fun stuff. So I'm quickly gonna do that. All right. Whoa. About 20 seconds to go. Ooh, got something in my eye. Got myself a little snack too. Anyway, welcome back everyone. Alright, I'm not going to worry about those at the moment. So the set language. I'm just going to... Oops. I'm going to do that. So I don't know why they've split it out at the moment. Oh. Create the in 18 variable. Easy done. Then what we want to do is set the in. We want to set the language. All right, cool. Amax. What we want to do, i18n dot global dot local equals, and then we pass through the options dot locale, I should say. It'll be this one line. Because we're not dealing with legacy mode. Whoops. Yes, mate. Oh. No, drop the peanut. All right. Don't know why that's not liking that. I know why it's not picking this. That's pretty easy. But considering we're no longer in legacy mode, yeah, it should be that. We don't need to set anything for the headers. No, my peanut. All right, so I'm going to clean up that. I'm just going to return. We're going to get rid of all of that. Now, I don't know where I'm using the load local messages. I think that's going to be somewhere. And right. I'll leave that there for the moment. I'll go back to main. So that should be calling that particular component. Nothing seems to be broken at the moment, which is good. I have no errors in the logs. That's perfectly fine. But I don't know if it's hitting this thing here. So I'm just going to go console log pane in there. I'm just going to open this up. I'm going to hit refresh. I don't see any pane. So something's telling me we're not hitting this one line. Where's my food? It could be the case of me not calling it from the main. Highly likely. Oh yeah, we're not. Alright. So, in this sort of case, we'll go back to one, we'll do that, we'll go import, that will be the setup this. From into that. Cool. Now it might not need these. Oh, it might. I don't know. Const that equals setup. We're not setting up the we're going to go local. We'll just do English for the moment. We'll figure all of this out. Now it's complaining about that. Sorry, our linter's going a little bit mental here. All right. So we've got that all set up. If I go over here now and I hit refresh, we hit pane. Sweet, that's what I want. So we are going through this process. We don't have any red text. I'm gonna do this. I'm just gonna print that out. We're gonna go over here. I'm gonna move that off to the left and we're gonna see what type of pane we've got. So under objects, we've got all of this. We've got the globals. So that's an object of ID. Now, we want local. All right, yep. I don't see the English version in there, which is annoying, but it looks like it's set up. Thanks for watching. I'm going to delete that. Now, the other thing is, I don't know what this is going to be doing. I'm just going to move it all into one function. Get the locals JSON. We need to make this async now. Async. Sorry. Go down here. What we want, const messages equals await import. This will be as simple as doing this locals, and then what we want to actually have is something like that, and then .json. We'll actually have local, the options .locale come through, and then what we need is hyphen and then the lang .json. All right. And then we need to set the locale and locale messages. And that will be i18n.global set local messages. That will be locale. Once again, options .locale and then messages like that. I don't know if it means that I need this line still. I'm gonna do that for the moment. We'll test it out. We'll do to do check if we need this line moving forward. That's pretty much it for down here. And then it's like wait till next tick. But what I'm going to say is, let's not. All right, under this, what we're wanting to do is under the main, oh, did I get rid of all that? Oh, no, here it is. No, that's the route. Damn it, I got rid of all that JSON stuff. Oh, one thing I've also got to do here is I've got to do an await there. So booting up, the app will hit this problem. It will go, all right, cool, I need more data first before I actually render anything to the page. We can get around that by loading in the minimum, not removing what we've just done, and then doing it, moving that to the route section. Yeah, I just got rid of all of my translations and stuff like that. Damn it. Oh well, no problem. We can rebuild them. This isn't going to be a problem whatsoever. What we want to do. Oh. All right. We did find an issue. What we want to do we want to do that. Oh, that's not that. No. I don't know why that's not. Hang on, I know why. There you go. All right, Syntax error, doesn't provide an export name default. Oh. Oh yeah. Okay, sorry, made a little mistake. Nav store all installed, yay! All right. So if we hit reload, it does boot in pretty quickly. We've got a lot of files that we're now importing. I'm going to delete all of those, making sure I don't have persistent logs on. I'm just going to hit reload. I don't know why we've got a token coming through, but that's perfectly fine. I'm just having a look for anything JP. No, we don't. Sweet. And that's perfectly fine. What we want to do now is if I go into main and I change this to JP or Japanese, we should see the Japanese language import now. All right, sweet. All right, cool. So what am I going to do? Because I've just deleted all my language stuff, which was a bit of a silly mistake. Oh no, I've got my tower. I've got the backup on the tower. All right, give me a couple of seconds. Sorry, I've got to connect to my tower. This would be that one. That one. All right, I want the source. It's taking a little while to boot up. All right, there we go. Main TypeScript, open with text editor. Or was this an app? I'm pretty sure I took a backup after I did all this stuff. Oh, let's text editor. There we go. I'll just bring this down. Yeah, I'm in mockup 2. Unmounted. Alright, damn. Oh, that's annoying. Okay. Oh well, these things happen. I'm just going to move on. In fact, we're going to do what we did the other day. So we're going to go translate. Move that over there to the right. We're going to see how we've set this up so far. So if we open up our components, we had the search. And if we open up the search, we had like search title and then the destination. So we've got something set up like that. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go search, title, and then we know that the destinations will be, this is not working. Not a problem. We'll fix that up in a second. So project, Kanban boards and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just going to go from the top. We'll have dashboard. We'll just leave it as that for the moment. So we had dashboard, we had Kanban boards. We'll have requirements. We'll have project. And we'll have task. And we'll have it like that for the moment. So I want to go over into the translate. I just want to go English, Japanese. I just want to type dashboard. We're not worried about too much. We're just going to copy that. We're just going to go over here and we're just going to paste that in. Piss off with the copy. I'm taking copy too. Finally it copied. Kanban board. Requirement. Project. And task. Like so. I can close that window now. So we've got something very, very basic in there. We're gonna go over here. I'm gonna hit refresh. Now this isn't working 100% yet. Search title requirement. All right. And this is where I'm gonna go back to this. That's all fine and dandy. I understand what that's doing now. I'm gonna hit getting started. I think I've got to strip out quotations. Maybe not. Yeah, that doesn't like that at all. All right. Now, is it message? Yep, it is message. All right. All right, so we've got all that. It's all loaded. No, it's still not picking that up. However, I might be stuck in, I shouldn't be stuck in English. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add in a simple one over here. I'm going to call it Hello World. Down here, I'm just going to add another p tag. I'm just going to do this. So $T. It's going to be hello world. I want to do fallback hello world here. And if we go over here, we've got the fallback hello world. All right, so I'm not connecting something up correctly. And I think if I go back to the lazy loading, I scroll down, I think I have to do this router stuff. Yeah. All right, I'm just going to copy that. We're now going to go over into the router index. So we've got the defined routes up there, we create the route, and then what we want to do, boom. We've got our router before each async. So we go through params location to params.locale. What I'm going to do, got my cap locks on, I'm going to go console log. I'm just gonna spit that out. The supported locals, we're not gonna worry about that just yet. I'm gonna simplify this very, very simply. It might be a case that we go, all right, cool. That locale is not supported. We are going to move back into just default English in case we will return. Now, I don't know how to get to that internationalization. Which makes me think this is actually meant to be called into the router. But we've got the U's there, and that's the problem. We don't want to be loading the message every single time unless we split it up into every single locale. Yeah. Which I'm happy to do. So, what I mean is, for example, let's say the nav, we can have a locale in here for the nav, a locale in here for the header, a locale for the dashboard, and so forth like that. That way it only loads in that data that it needs and not the whole entire dictionary. Don't know if this will work. So we've got that. Params local. It's not gonna work. That's not gonna. Alright. Those are all set up anyway. what I'm doing. All right, type error, CS$T is not a function. Yeah, because it doesn't like it in here. All right, I understand. I still need to actually put it back into here. So I'll undo that and I will undo that. Yeah, these are stuck like this. The locale is undefined. All right, console log. Just gonna do that. Undefined. Oops. That's a simple mistake. Still undefined. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to go into this implementation. Oh my God, just go there. All right, so locale, we should be, doesn't set it when it's English. But we should be setting, we should be passing through Japanese. Yeah, we got to do this here. All right. Cannot support locale type. All right, cool. Okay, it doesn't like that then. I'm still getting params local is undefined. So what I'm going to do, console log options locales. Oh, that's it. Got a spelling mistake. All right, now we've got Japanese coming through, but that's in the, that's for this line here. I'm just wondering if we've got to do value there again. Still undefined. Yeah, I don't like that. Set up the console log. That one's set there. That's fine. All right, cool. That one, we'll ignore that one. What I'm doing is I'm just gonna console log this out now. I just want to see what actually happens. So, oh, we got the value as undefined. we've got a setter. We do have a setter, which makes me think something here is not working. It should be. I'm just gonna do that. I'm gonna log in again. Yeah, everything's still is the documentation correct? I don't know. So we're essentially doing that and it's still not working. That doesn't work either. We're just going to put that in very, very quickly. It doesn't hurt. Easy. Well, why are you complaining? There we go. All right, cool. We go back over here. It reloads everything up. So we've got objects. Yeah, we've got the locale. So that one, I should move that off to the, so you guys can see. Not that this actually has it laying out any nice at all. So we've got the object, all that kind of stuff. So there's it kind of defined. We've got this. We've got departments, we've got detail, we've got the effects. So we've got the function, we've got the get. And we've got the set. Don't know if that will work. No, it was worth a shot. This is really annoying. All right. Let's go back to the documentation. Yeah, that will happen later. Yeah, the problem is I don't know where to get that. Takes the same options as create, creates an instance of Deleu with those options, excludes the set international language function, returns the set international language function sets the language by setting the local parameters to the value of the parameter at the locale. All right, yep. I might just Google this. All right, let's just cheat. Yep, great that. All right. Integrate with the router, recommended. Yep, router before each. Const local, 2 parameters local, or that. All right, cool. If local and local, da da da. Export default router. All right, cool. All right, it's globally available now. In the main, what we need to do, create app, international, load local message from the plugins. All right, cool. Init app. All right, cool. Yep. Await load local messages. Yep. All right, let's just try this out then. I'm giving up. There we go, petite view. Yep, we've got to set it like that. All right, I think that's also what we're probably missing before. Okay, so we got it here. And then we got one of these where the locale will be a string. We'll force it down to be a string. So I think we've got that control. And then I'm going to go const messages equals await import. In this sort of case, it will be locales locale lang.json. I think that's, yeah, that'll be it for the moment. We can strip all of that out just to be hard-coded for the moment. Set the local message to be in that. Return the local, export that. All right, cool. I'm happy with all of that now. As happy as I can be. So that's part of the source. Yep, that's part of the source plugins. And then with the router stuff, we need to copy this. We're going to go into index. We're going to go all the way down here. We're just going to do this. We're just going to put that in there very, very quickly. We need to import these. So I'm assuming if we go into here, it's wanting us to import these. So we'll just go do that right now. I'll do it like that. Oops, sorry, I was meant to hit the keys to get up there. That was weird. The linter stopped wanting to lint. Oh, cool, we've already got that. That should have fixed all of that. Oh, we haven't set that up yet. All right, cool, not a problem. So that'll be at that. So that will be at the source. Hold on. I'm just going to move that over. There we go. That one's done. The local. It's going to be a string or a string array. Let's set local. Oh my God, will they just fuck make up the mind? Your argument type of string is not assignable to type string. Okay. What I want to do is I'm going to get rid of that. We're going to set it globally. So that would be local. All right, cool. Yep. So that's set the language changes and all that kind of fun stuff. All right, cool. Now we're going to do the main. So that should all be done. That's perfectly fine. Yeah, we just need to import it from there. All right, cool. And there we go. All right, low. What the? I've got a, yeah, all right, cool. That's got to be done before creating the app. So that will be done here. And then it'll be all plugged into there. And then if we go over here and hit reload, unknown variable dynamic import locales. English, all right, cool. All right, give me a couple of seconds. I'll go lock the cat door. I'll be right back. Alright, so the one problem is I don't have an English language JSON, so we need to sort of skip that one. So what I want to do is that and that and that, and locale does not equal English. We'll be fine with that. So we go back in over here. It still wants to dynamically load that one in, which is going to be a problem. I'm just going to copy this one for the moment. I'm just going to paste this in. I hit the wrong buttons. That would, yeah. I'm just going to paste this one in. I don't care that it's going to appear like this. I just want this sort of working now. All right. not found. That's perfectly fine. We're not going to worry too much about that. And what we're going to do is we're going to fix up everything first. I want to copy this, I want to do this, and I want to do that. Boom. All right, cool. So that means I will get rid of this, get rid of this, scroll up here, get rid of this, reformat, and not quite. Getting there though. So, search title and requirement. But the hello world is appearing there like that. From the JSON file, easy done. We'll just do it like that. There we go. So that is working. It's just the search title task keys in the N locale is not working, even though we are there and they are right there. I'll figure that out in a minute. Just having a quick think. How we can actually, moving forward, tackle the translation issues. Don't know. I'm just having a really good think. I also want to have a look at the network tools and stuff like that, because we've got the English stuff coming through. That wasn't too big. That's actually half a byte, but that's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger the more the application is translated. I definitely don't want an English version in there. The reason being is I could do that in on the template itself and then reference it and all that kind of fun stuff. All right, okay, so I've got that. I'm going to go to main. Actually, we're going to go into the internationalization. We've got the locale in here. We haven't actually passed it through into this, and that is one thing that we should do. I'm just going to put Japanese in there. It's going to render, it's going to do the fallback thing because we don't actually have the proper hello world down here. So we're just going to go copy this. Sucks. You are just a little in the way, sweetie. I'm gonna move you. Wee. She's like, no, I don't like that. I'm like, too bad. You have to like it. All right, hello world from Japan. All right, so there'll be Nihon kara konnichiwa sekai. If I even pronounce that anywhere near correct. Most likely, definitely not. All right, so we should, yeah, there it goes. So that's working perfectly fine. It's just up here, it isn't. Not a problem. We'll attempt to fix it now. So I'm just gonna close all other tabs. I'm gonna close this, I'm gonna close this. I'm just gonna step back for a couple of seconds and I'm gonna have a quick think. Now, for the English dictionary, we won't need it, full stop, because we're going to have fallback translations on the components itself. In a way, that will make the components a little bit larger. However, that being said, it's going to be a lot easier for programmers to see. That being said, those that aren't English speaking, they're going to have a bigger payload. And it might be best to not do that. This is the problem. All right. And this is something I'll open up to the community. I'll be like, hey guys, do you reckon this is the better sort of solution, or should we also have a file for the English version? And that way, if but also having a fallback into English is going to be better because, and hear me out, let's say someone else comes along and they're like, cool, I want to use this tool, however, it's not in my native language. However, I can translate it. And they copy, let's say, one of the language files, they paste it out, and they go through and they translate everything. Then later on, I might add in a few things, and that never falls back into that language file. The fallback will mean that it's in English, and hopefully the person who is using the system can use Google Translate or something like that, instead of having search.title.task, which makes no sense. So I am going to state, yes, I will actually use the components to store the English fallback. However, that being said, alternatively, you can always use the English file as a fallback, in which case, then that will be fine, but then you're downloading, could be potentially downloading multiple files. Oh, God, this is, yeah, all right. But this is working now. Yay. So what I want to do is, now that we've got the Japanese sort of stuff started, let's see if I can change this. Now there's a reason why I changed that, and bear with me. So when we create the thing in here, so we're exporting this as default, cool. The locale in here, we've got the options and all that kind of fun stuff. I don't know if we can, we've also got the router. So if I go into the router and into the index, I've got the locale from there. But do we have the two? Give me a couple of seconds. I'm going to go console log to, we're just going to pass it through. I want to see what actually happens. So we're going to go into the console. We've got the two. We've got all of this. We've got params. We've got the query and so forth like that. We've got the meta. We've got the matched. I'm going to go over here. We've got the two params.local. So over here, I'm just going to right hand click, set as global variable. We're going to do that. Whoops. I'm going to go temp0 dot params dot locale. Actually, I'm just going to go params at the moment. We've got nothing in the params. All right, cool. So nothing in the parameters. I guess that would be the languages you can set in the URLs. All right, cool. I was thinking of something else, but no, I'm completely and utterly wrong. All right, so what I want to do is I want to make sure that this is dynamic. I'm just going to go console log pane up here. Let's go const locale equal, and we're just going to go JP for the moment. All right, we're going to go down here and go locale, easy, perfect. It will connect in. We do have the pane, and we do have the Japanese coming through, and that worked really, really quickly. Sweet. Now that does give me the ability to essentially find this HTML tag and get the language out of it. And what you would usually do is, let's say, document.get element by get elements by tag name, and just put in HTML, and then you grab the first one. There'll always be one there. All right, it's going to be this one. If I go var a equals that, perfect. So if I go a, there it is right there. If I go a.lang within .gp in there, now there might be a better way of doing that because that's a couple of lines. So we're just going to go JavaScript get lang from HTML tag, just to see if there's a better way, because there might be a property. Document dot, oh god, what did I do? When is the Google thing? Document element. All right, let's just copy this. I don't know if this will work, but we will try. So I will paste that into there. I'm gonna go up here, I'm gonna delete that. I'm going to, whoops, go to that 9.1. We're gonna delete this comment. We don't need this at all. We're gonna go page language, easy done. We're gonna delete this component, that too. So that should, in theory, if we go back over here, boom, we've still got that. Everything's working perfectly fine. If we go into our index.html and we type in n, boom. All right, cool. Now the best thing is with NearBeach, we'll actually have control over that particular variable. So I'm just going to change that back to Japan. We're going to do it like that. And then what we want to do is just having a quick think. Now we want to fix up this thing up here. Pretty easy done. I am going to start closing a lot of these. And what we're going to do legacy false, but that's perfectly fine. We're going to get rid of this. We're going to scrape the page language from the document. All right, cool. Set up the internationalization. Variable, global variable. Changing the local messages, easy done. So dynamically import the, all right, cool, we're all happy with that, we're happy with that, and we're happy with all of that. Now that being said, I've just realized that if it's English, we won't import stuff. So do not import any English as it'll default. So if locale equals n, we'll just return the locale straight away. And then we do all of that, and then return the locale. Easy done. All right. Index.t8. Yep, cool. That just means I can then just strip that out. I'm happy with that. So that will set up that will then do that, and that will all happen like that. And then if I go back over here and I'm like this, this will just work perfectly fine. Yeah, that's fine. Let's fix up this. Fallback to translate, so ended with, yeah, all right, cool. Yeah, we won't worry about the en fallback. Yeah, all right, cool. Let's open up the components. Let's go into the search. Let's go into search. So it's failing on this. We all know that it's failing on that. And we can see that the $T is red here, but that should be perfectly fine. We've got destination, we've got route. Yeah, the hello world works. It's just not the nested stuff. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to comment that stuff out at the moment. I'm just going to go h1 id equals main title. We're just going to go search in here. That's going to be perfectly fine. Now, what we want to do is I'm going to go p destination. We're going to open up one of these and we're going to go do a $T. We're going to do search.title.project. I'm going to have a fallback being project fallback. And all one, how are you going? We are trying to get translation working in our little mock-up app. What we do here will actually happen in the bigger application itself, as sometimes it's just easier to sort of do these things in a mock-up app. Because if you muck up, you're only mucking up the mock-up app. You're not destroying production code. So yeah, that's what we're doing. Otherwise, usually I am building an open source project management system called NearBeach. It's currently, we're currently getting ready to essentially start development on the 0.32 version of it, which is a massive refactor. That's including the UI, database, backend, and all that kind of stuff. So over the last several hundreds of years, I've made a few bad decisions that have caused technical debt. We're getting rid of that. So, you know, it just means there's a lot of work. So, yeah. All right, I'm just gonna hit refresh. I'm just gonna delete all of that. So we've got the search, we've got the project fallback. I'm just gonna hit refresh because we've got some warnings. Not found search.title.project in the JP local messages. All right, I'm just wondering how I can get to the local messages because this should actually work. So we've got messages. Yep, that's perfectly fine. Getting started. Yeah, we've got the hello message. Wait, status. Active until middle of next somewhere. Scope and local changes. Should be able yeah, we've got the fallback stuff working perfectly fine. Other thing is we could work on the local scope of things, and that will break the files down even further, which is not going to be a problem. Okay. I know this is plausible. What I'm going to do is there's a composition AI, yeah, API, sorry, not AI. All of that, yeah, we don't need to, because it's now set globally. Messages.hello. Date formats, no, not what I'm after. Right. I know I've seen this somewhere where we had multiple different levels. Alright, not that. Alright. Custom directive, nah. Alright, not what I want. You got messages linked. Alright, cool. Home address. I want nested stuff. Alright, just give me a second. Nested. Or layered. Alright. I thought it was possible. Let's open up the Japanese one again. So we'll open up the locals, we'll open up the Japanese one. I thought it was possible to go all the way down here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go search, and we're just going to search, I'm going to put file there. We are going to go over here. We're going to open, oops, I want to also open in the search itself. I'm just going to put search. That's it. So in here, we've got search file. So that's worked. If I put in a dot and I go search destination, and I go back into the Japanese one, and I open up this and I go destination and I type in search destination file. Go back over here, we've got project fallback. All right. So yeah, it doesn't like that. And I am in the Japanese one. I'm just gonna, just in case, I'm gonna copy this. I'm gonna go over to the English language one. I'm just gonna cause some trouble. I'm just gonna open up that and I'm just gonna paste that. In fact, I'm just gonna get rid of the English language one. Don't know why I tried safe deleting it. So yeah, we've got project fallback. So not found, search just destination, key, and alert local message. Now that being said, What if I do search.destination, search destination silly? All right, this is just a silly one. We're just gonna go over here. We're just gonna open up that search destination silly. All right, cool. For some strange reason, this is not exporting, and all right, let's go view internationalization, nested messages. So yeah, we're trying to do something like that. So you got user greeting, notifications, new and unread. All right, so that makes sense. You kind of want to do that. And then yeah, you got to do it like that. User.greeting. So user.greeting and yeah. Oh, it's just T in the compositional version. CT is not a function. That's not going to be a problem. That is going to be a problem. Give me a couple of seconds. I've just got to look at the composition one again. Those optimizations. Compositional legacy files. Yeah, we've got that already set. And then yeah, it's still like that. Now they've got message.hello. I'm just gonna go up here. That should be hello from the file. All right, message.hello. All right, I'm just gonna hit reload. Use that is not defined. This is just driving me nuts now. Oh, I've got a, yeah, no, that's my bad, And that is petite view. All right. Search destination, silly search. So down here, we're going to go message.hello. That's project fallback. All right. Nope, I want to put that off to the right. Okay, message context, yada yada yada. All right. Yeah, it should be doing something like that, but it doesn't, and it's really annoying. Alright, cool. View, internalization, nested messages. Not working. On lazy load. Alright. Have a look. Ah, sorry. So we're not using that, we're using that one. Yep. We don't need to do that because we'll get Django to do that for the user. Yep, that's fine. All right, cool. Yeah, I've got to do it like that. Let's go back up here. Let's just delete all of that. Let's just paste in that. So we should be able to get that now. And then we've got to do i18n. .global.t. So that one should behave better. Who knows? No. That should work. All right, cool. I just had the path wrong. Easy done. But yeah, it's still not liking the nested sort of stuff. All right, so I'm just gonna go view internationalization. Nested messages not working. So we've got something like that. Yep. That's meant to work. That's also meant to, yeah. Okay, locals, define locals, eject verify. Alright, let's go into here. Let's also zoom in. This is really tiny text. We're using 3, we're using that. I think they would have fixed it by this particular point. Internationalization, alright, cool. There's the mount, yep, alright, sweet, login. Alright, login title. Do they have their Alright, the other thing which I haven't really checked is we go into here. Let's search for JPay. We've got this coming through. I'll zoom this open like this. So we've got message equals all of that. We've got hello world. We've got the search is equal to that. Yeah, all right, that's... I don't know why it's doing that. So if we go into here and go search.destination, I'm just going to copy that. We're going to go down here and we're just going to go search.destination. We should in theory get search destination silly, which we do get over here, which is not what we want. We go into the JSON into here, we've got search destination, let's say project in here, search project silly file. I'm just going to, yeah, it's going to complain about that. All right, cool, get rid of that. We're going to reload, and then we go into here. Yeah, we don't have the search.project whatsoever. I think it's loading the JSON somehow wrong. Okay, I'm going to go into lazy loading. So we got that. We've got all of that. Yeah. I think I know what I'm doing wrong. So JavaScript export JSON. Yeah, all right. So if I export default, it's not wanting to do it. Yeah, found the pass JSON file. All right, cool. Yeah, that's not it. Oh. Yeah, it's just coming out like that, which is extra annoying. I'm just gonna go into the dist assets. Oh no, it won't be in there yet. I'm gonna build this. Oh, hang on a minute. Import card header, cannot find, or, all right. I'll fix that up in a minute. That's fine. Let's stick with the problems. What I want is, I want to open up this, I want to open up that. We don't have language file there. It probably didn't make it because if I delete all of that and I go like that and I rebuild again, yeah, under new project, cannot find component that. Give me a couple of seconds. Let's fix this up. Components render. got the single card. Tell you what. I didn't like one of the aliases. That's not a problem. Let's just build all of that very, very quickly. There we go. We can also do npm run lint. In which case, yeah, we can go through and clean up those issues. Custom elements with a vbind key directive. All right, cool. Yeah, all of that's perfectly fine. If I go npm run, if I go cd into the dist folder, we can use php server and then do localhost 8080, 8081, 8082. Like that, and we've got something like this. All right, destination, silly, but no, it's not what I wanted to look at. If we go onto the left, what I want to do, I'll get rid of this, we'll reload the page. We've still got this with the response, const hello from file, search, trash, alert. So that comes through. Something like that. So if we go to project, we've got search silly destination. Trying to remember what we did. We did something like that. Yeah, so search, but we did it like that. All right, cool. I want to get rid of that then. I'm going to keep most of that for the moment. I'm going to close this. We're going to cd up. We're going to npm build. We're going to cd into the dist again. php localhost 8082. Just going to jump over here. We're just going to hit refresh. We've got the project fallback again. All right. Well, this has also answered another sort of thing. If I can't have these nested sort of objects, it's going to be harder and harder and harder for someone to actually translate this application. So the only way for me to potentially do this is to have partials. And have them that they're imported. And have them that they're not nested. You've got the basic sort of stuff. Not ideal at all. It's going to be a pain. But then again, this could be a skill issue. I could be well off track. I could have made a mistake somewhere and... well, let's just say that mistake follows me. Anyway, it is almost 10 o'clock. I'm probably going to call it there just because I am getting a little bit tired, but I was hoping to actually have this sort of sorted out, and I'm glad we're coming across all these issues because, yeah, I do want to spend more time getting this sorted. Yeah, I just want to get it done. So, yeah. Anyway, let's find someone to raid. All right. We rated him the other day. We might as well just rate him again. All right. Anyway, thank you very much, everyone, for being here tonight. It has been wonderful. Yeah, it was I'm hoping next time I'll have the translations down pat. So yeah. I'm also hoping that we'll have the design sort of figured out a little bit more. You know, there's a lot of stuff I've still got to do. So yeah. Anyway, thank you very much. We're gonna raid on to Toggabit. So yeah. Anyway, thank you. And for those on YouTube, sorry you can't come, but please do like and subscribe. It does help the channel, and I'll hopefully